Well, this is the table saw as far as I've assembled it. It's been a long and difficult process because there are a multitude of steps, and the illustrations in the little booklet are so fuzzy and faint that one can't always make out what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Altogether, I find the construction to be either over-engineered in some places and in other places extremely flimsy. As you can see, for example, with these wheels that one is supposed to wheel it around on, they've already collapsed because they're not designed to carry the weight of the system. We have here a sliding table as another example, and this sliding table, as you can see here, is nice and flush on that end, but on this end it is not. And you can't adjust it any further than it is. This side is already as high as it possibly can go, and this side over here is as low as it can possibly go. So it's always going to be slightly misaligned, and it makes one wonder what other items, perhaps more critical items, are also misaligned. But let's come to the main event, and that is this ripping rail over here. As to its design, you can see that it's relatively shallow here. One would have expected somewhat more of an upright. I would have thought that this side over here would be the upright, but there's no way to fasten that to this locking mechanism here. A better design would also have been to have locking mechanisms on both ends, but that's not possible because for some reason they've decided to put a little table over on that end. I suppose one could remove it, but even so, we only have one locking mechanism which we can use on one end or the other. This introduces the possibility of some play on either side, to either side, and with possible accidents as well. However, the big problem here is with this device here, which is the locking mechanism. It has, let me turn it over and you can see, it has two nice nylon wheels, and those wheels slide in this groove over here. Very nice smooth action for them to slide in. And yeah, then one is supposed to set it to the width you want to work on. In this case, I happen to have assembled this to be ripping on the other side, so I'll just move it to that side. If one really wanted to rip on this side, that would entail loosening these screws here and turning the ripping rail over to the other side, but then you'd be obscuring the measurement mechanism over here. So altogether, this is not very well thought through. Now let's imagine that we've now set it to the width on which we want to rip, like there maybe, and now we want to lock it in place. In theory, one should be able to now move this down and down and down, and now I've moved it as far as I can. If I try to exert more pressure on it, it's probably going to break, so I'm not going to do that. but as soon as I let it go, it just releases again, and it's free to move. Try moving, locking it again. It just releases all by its little self. And I don't know how to fix that. I'm pretty handy normally, but I don't know what to do. Altogether, I have no faith in this contraption. I'm worried that it's going to hurt me, maybe cut off some parts of me that I've grown fond of. And I want to give it back to you and get my money back and buy a table saw that actually is well constructed and well made. Thank you for paying attention. Bye-bye.